nuts always seem to have it called cashews. Oh wait, there's more. Hi everyone, and welcome to another video of my cooking channel. And in this video, we are going to be making some homemade apple cider. And what we'll need is 10 medium apples, 1 medium-sized orange or multiple of these, and then some ground cinnamon or 3 cinnamon sticks, and then 1 teaspoon of ground cloves. And let's move on to the first step. And we will also need this crock pot too. Alright, and first we need to peel these oranges and then put them into this crock pot. So I'm gonna take the skin off of these. And then before placing the entire orange straight into the crock pot, we're going to split into 4s as evenly as possible, so it looks kind of like this. And then we're going to place these in the crock pot like that. Try and get them leveled out as evenly as possible. And it should look something similar to that. And then next up, once we cut out the apples, we're going to cut it in half. So then they are in halves like this. And then we're going to cut it in half on both sides going down this way. Here, it's gonna be easier if I do it this way. And then taking a smaller knife, we are going to take the seeds out of like this section right here, and then we're also going to be like the skin on the apples too. And then with the apples, you can use any type of apples that you want. And then we're just gonna take the seeds out, so it looks something similar to this. And then we're going to repeat the process to all 10 of the the apples. And then if you want to, you can add some sugar to it to sweeten it up, but you don't have to. And if you're going to add sugar to it, then you can add any amount that you want to add. I'm not planning on adding any sugar to the apples. And then once the apples are cut like this, it should look something like this. And then we are going to take these and put them in the crock pot. And then it should look something similar to this. And then we need to add the ground cloves, and then the cinnamon, and either from the ground cinnamon or the cinnamon sticks. And then I'm going to be adding ground cinnamon. And if you're going to be using ground cinnamon, we need 1 tablespoon. And if you're going to be using the cinnamon sticks, you're going to use 3 cinnamon sticks. I'm going to put 1 tablespoon. And if you accidentally spill some onto the table, then that's okay. And then it should look something like that. I'm trying to get it as level as possible. Then we're going to put it in here like this. try to get as much of it in here as I can. And then we will need 1 teaspoon of the ground cloves. And then she'll look something like that, and then we're going to try sprinkling in here as evenly as we can. And then it should look something like this. And then we are going to add water to it until all the fruit and the seasonings in here are. After the water is in the crock pot, it should look something similar to this. And then if not all the fruit is covered, then that's fine. But as long as it looks something like this, it should be alright. Then we are going to cook that in the crock pot for 6 to 7 hours on low heat or 30 hours on high heat. Alright, and after this has been on low heat for 6 to 7 hours or a high heat for about 30 hours, we're going to take a spoon and mash the fruit so it can release its liquids. Or you can use a meat chopper like this. It kind of do that too. And then after you mash the fruit to get its liquids out, we are going to cook it for about another hour. If the apple cider is a little clumpy, then that is okay. After the apple cider has sat in here cooking for about an hour, it should look something like this. And the next step that we need to do is we need to take a slotted spoon like this. And then we're going to scoop the cider in here to drain the liquid into the pot here. And then we are going to be repeating that process until all the liquid gets into the pot. And then with this part, I recommend pouring some in here and then going like this to it to try and get more liquids out. And then after getting the liquids out, putting it into a bowl like this. And then after we get all this into here and drain and put into a bowl, we are going to repeat that process again. With this part, at first you'll have liquids in here. If you want, you can take a whole serving spoon and then pour it into here and then squeeze the liquids out of that. If there's a little bit of liquid left in the crock pot, then you can always just like pour it right into the strainer bowl and then strain it from there. Once the apple cider is all done, it should look something like this. Apple cider you can put into a pitcher if you want to. And then if you want to, you can reuse the apple chunks and turn it into applesauce by taking out as much of the orange chunks as you can.